Peace, love. Listen, man, we outside. I had what, 4 hours of sleep. Been in the hospital all day. But we outside. I gotta tell you what I experienced, and I gotta put you on the game. And I gotta help you with your life genuinely through telling you about mine. Yeah? Random thought, shout outs to Queen Flip. Remember I met Queen Flip. He's an amazing guy. Shout outs to him. I was just thinking about that just now. Shout outs to Emotions Made Easy. Currently, I'm about to put up on the website, I have a 21 build a habit challenge. It takes 21 days to build a habit. So for the new year, I'm offering you guys 4 sessions for $100, first month free, 10-minute sessions free. Uh, just so you get an idea of what Emotions Made Easy does for you and what it's done for me and all the clients we have genuinely. So rap coming, about to drop another EP, everything all good. Listen to my music when you feel at your lowest. Enough of that. What are we going to talk about today? Yeah? Freedom is believing in yourself. Let go. Yeah? Let go. That's what we're going to do. Let's start off. How has your understanding of freedom evolved as you learn to believe in yourself more? My understanding of freedom has evolved as I have learned to believe in myself more because I have realized that true freedom comes from within. From trusting in my own abilities and intuition rather than seeking validation or approval from external sources. One thing I've realized for myself is that who I am is all that matters. You have to understand this. Who you are is all that matters. You don't need any external validation, not even from the idea of the person you think you have to be that you create in your mind. Because you'll get to a point, right, where you're gonna stop keeping up with the societal expectations and the idea of entitlement. You're going to get to that space, and shit, you're probably already getting there. You need to understand, you need to learn how to validate yourself. What I usually tell my clients, right, is let's say I have a client, he feels like the way it looks, his dad abandoned him at a very, very young age. And he put his mom through a lot. And he's at the age of 25, I believe now, and he's trying to sort that stuff out. And I was talking to him, and I had told him, I said, listen, you need to write yourself a letter. You need to write him a letter. And the whole goal behind that is you need to be heard. You need to, because a lot of times we get so caught up in this physical reality. Remember, you're a spiritual being experiencing a physical experience, right? So sometimes we get so caught up. So sometimes, or most times, I work with what you're caught up on. So a lot of you guys that believe in literal and physical, you want to validate yourself. So the quickest way to validate yourself is to I told him, write a letter to your father. Read it because you need to hear yourself. That's another smooth way to validate. And for you men out there, you need to learn how to validate yourself. If you're looking for validation from everybody else, you will be swindled a lot because people can exploit that and manipulate you by exploiting what you're emotionally invested in relevance to the idea of needing validation. So trusting my intuition, trusting my spirit. One thing I notice is it is hard as shit to let go. It's hard as shit. And as I got better at it, I know it starts off hard, but the whole idea is imagine yourself vomiting and throwing up a beautiful rainbow because your emotions is like a rainbow, like the chakras. It's so many aspects of your emotions. So you have to let that go so you can let it flow. There's a lot of emotional muck. If you watch the Avatar episode, right, because my spirit came across it this weekend, and I was smoking a spliff, and I was like, yo, you know what? Let me take some fucking notes on this Avatar shit, right? Get a little closer. Let's take some notes on this Avatar shit. And I'm like, what is spirit doing here? This is to segue. Matter of fact, I'm gonna connect the thread. The relevance of this is to help you understand why you gotta trust your spirit, why you gotta trust your intuition. So I'm sitting there and I'm busting down my spliff, using the bong at the same time sometimes. And I'm sitting there listening to the guru talk. And the first thing that he started with was the earth chakra. He's just talking about the chakras, right? And you start to realize that you got fears that you're afraid of. You have to face those. You have to lean into those. You have things like willpower. Pleasure is blinded by the idea of guilt. I'll do a video on the chakras later. But trusting your intuition, thus me being able to take notes on this, you need to understand that you're the shiniest object in the universe. You need to understand that a lot of the information that your blessings and your knowledge, it comes from you. The Gnostics used to call it gnosis, right? So we need to learn to trust ourselves a little bit more. And that's the idea of letting go. It's trust falling into yourself. In today's day, we're very, very dependent on everything outside of ourselves when life is internal. You're a spiritual being having a physical experience. So trust yourself, believe in yourself. Letting go may seem hard, but trust me, the more you practice it mundanely is the better you get at it, and it starts to feel a little bit more serendipitous or somewhat ineffable. Like you might not have words to explain. So a lot of times I recall that me being myself, like if I didn't read my book, like I read it last Monday, it's like I'm still trying to keep up with that idea. It's like, nah, fuck that. Spirit, the Kabbalion tells you, spirit is constantly becoming and changing. There's no way to keep up with that besides you being patient and letting go and detaching yourself from all the things you want and need, because it's your abundance is your birthright. Everything that you want and need, you already have. I need you to understand that. Okay, what's next? Can you elaborate on your experience of letting go of attachments and how it has impacted your mindset? Letting go of attachments has allowed me to free myself from ego-driven desires and expectations, leading to a more peaceful and content mindset. By releasing the need to control outcomes and aligning with the natural flow of life, I have found a greater sense of peace and fulfillment. I was waiting in the hospital today for 5 hours. I ended up getting to work late. Nothing that I was used to. We had to wait for some. Long story short, the doctors at Kings County, sometimes they can be weird because people are weird, right? And I think the medical industry and doctors can be very suggestive. People itself can be very suggestive. Even in relevance to the spiritual aspect and the mental aspect, people would like to think they know more about you than you know about yourself. And I think that's an idea of entitlement, which stems from social expectations and insecurities. So I'm waiting there, and, in my mind, I don't like to wait with no purpose. So I watch the time genuinely. I'm sitting here. If we're waiting for lab results, nobody came in and notified us. So I could see a reality where you must have got busy doing what you were doing. So now I have to inquire for myself. One of the biggest things I had to learn was to let go. So all these opportunities and ideas come to me naturally. I let go of the idea of trying to leave. You know, when you sit there and you're being patient for a while, there is another aspect where it's like I want to hurry up and go. And I let go of the expectation and the idea, thus me not projecting things subconsciously from a space of, because the nurse was pissing me off, not from a bad space. Understand that being pissed off is normal. Listen, separation and duality is an illusion that only exists in the physical realm. Understand that all those negative thoughts you think you're having is also positive, and all the positive and negative. Everything is just one, right? Your spirit, your soul is all one, right? So I learned to let go of that shit. You feel me? This guy walks in with the mayo in one hand, telling my girl that she needs to be induced. And I'm like, fuck. It's funny because the nurse comes in later and goes, well, you don't have any aspects of preeclampsia or whatever the case is. We check. Because my girl is genuinely strong here and we have a beautiful support system. And that's what creates a good health. So, shout out, son, I got a beautiful baby. We sat there listening to his heartbeat the whole time. I knew that spirit was telling me, hey, listen, this is for you to know that your child is alive and kicking, and you need to be okay with that genuinely. Even though you went through aspects of a misconception or a miscarriage earlier, this is not this time. The universe is blessing you. Understand it's for you and not to you. So I just had to learn to detach. And when I did, I actually sat down, played some Monopoly, went, used the bathroom, got comfortable. Get comfortable in your space. A lot of letting go has to do with getting comfortable and logging out of the illusion of what the future is based on your past and present. That's how the future gets created. So I learned to let go. And as I let go, it impacted my mindset from a space of opportunity started flowing in. Everybody's trying to be smart. The quickest way to be smart is to let go of trying to be smart. You're naturally smart. You attract that. That's your birthright. Why would you need to summon that or manifest that when everything that you need and want is already here? If it's not gotten and you haven't received it, that means it's not for you, okay? All right. What have you learned about being a spiritual being, just talked about this, experiencing a physical experience or existence, and how has this understanding shaped your perspective on life? Understanding myself as a being, spiritual being experiencing a physical experience has shifted my perspective on life, highlighting the temporary nature of material possessions and focusing instead on spiritual growth and connection. This realization has empowered me to live more authentically and purposefully, and it has. One thing I noticed, right, is that we worry too much. It's normal. Everybody worries. It is not a bad thing. But when you're worrying to the point where you're not present in what your actions are saying and what you're doing and you're not mindful, that's the problem. So I've learned that since I've understood more that I'm a spiritual being in a physical, going through a physical experience, I start to understand a little bit more of material possessions don't matter. Everything is yours that's yours. What about the things that you have now? You see, once you kind of understand that, you start to build on an idea of gratitude. Gratitude is the quickest way to obtain everything you genuinely want, by being aware of all the things you want and need are already here. They're not separate. Time, remember what I said. The biggest illusion in the physical realm is that things are separate. And the biggest illusion is duality and separation. So once you start to understand that your past, present, and future are all one, you start to realize that everything that you need is coming with speed, but also everything you want and need is actually here. So It's a different way of thinking, and it changed my mindset wholeheartedly. We got to start understanding that we're the shiniest object in the universe. Ain't nothing shinier than you. You need to understand that because I know, let's just say, for instance, a lot of people make mistakes and they focus so much on the mistake they made that it kind of stunts or takes a while for them to learn from it, which is their path. You need to understand that even though you made a mistake, it's your perception of what you consider a mistake or what you're considering the definition of a mistake. Accidents happen so you can learn. Accidents create the idea of potential perfection. You need to understand this. So if you made a mistake, you did something wrong, you need to forgive yourself first. That's what you need to do. You got to understand. You can't expect for anybody to forgive you if you can't even let go of the shame and the guilt in relevance to forgiving yourself. Yeah? Yeah. All right. How do you relate? Let's see. How do you relate the act of surrendering to throwing up colorful rainbows, and what does this metaphor mean to you? The metaphor of throwing up colorful rainbows symbolizes the idea of letting go of negative emotions and limiting beliefs, allowing for a release of emotional baggage and a renewal of energy and positivity. It serves as a reminder that embracing and releasing emotions is a natural, transformative process. We need to understand that this shit is natural. You gotta understand. Are you hearing me? This shit is natural. So it's inhumane when you're causing harm to yourself and you're not mindful of it. It's like Einstein said, the quickest way to label insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting the same result. You need to understand that spirit is constantly changing. That rainbow you're throwing up is you letting go of that emotional muck that's blocking the source, the well. Inside of you, there's 7 ponds, one bigger than the other. Wherever they start, they start. As life goes by and it gets to life in, you get to putting emotional muck in there just genuinely. Let's say, for example, it's like a thought that you don't unpack naturally, and you can unpack when you can. You don't unpack it naturally, and now that thought gets thrown to the back, and now you're hoarding. Then you start to feel that pressure because you never sat down and went through your pity. You never sat down and unpacked so you can unlock, right? So the whole goal is you have to let that muck out. You have to throw up that rainbow. Emotions are beautiful. That's my understanding behind it too. It's a very, very, very beautiful thing. It's just men are not ruined by things, they're ruined by their perception of it. So the whole goal is to unpack when you can. But before you unpack, you need to let all of it go. The first step is don't even try to synthesize it or create a synopsis for it. You need to let it all go, be free, wave the white flag, and before you know it, these things will situate themselves. You don't have to force it because solutions and understanding are your birthright. Why would you have to attract something that's rightfully yours? All right. In what ways have you been able to overcome fear and lean into your faith in surrendering to the universe? Overcoming fear and leaning into faith involve trusting in the process of surrender and accepting that things will unfold as they are meant to. By releasing resistance and surrendering control, I have found peace and clarity in trusting that the universe has a plan far greater than my own. One thing that I've noticed, we think we know it all, and a lot of people take pride in it. And we do know it. It's like when I play Monopoly, I know when the dice show up and it finally lands, for some reason, I get a subconscious understanding on where it will land based on me knowing the numbers, right? There's infinite possibilities. Dr. Strange told you that already. And there's no possible way to kind of calculate what would happen. The best I can say, my version of letting go to ideas within aspects of that is I need to genuinely sit here, see the positive, see the negative, and still let go of both. Because I know which one is for me is for me. So I let go of the positive, I let go of the negative, and right now it's time to be present. Once you kind of unpack the negative and the positive and then let go of it, it's like you did your part. You can't, whatever you can't control, don't try to push. That's what creates the frustration too. A lot of times we're trying to control what we can't, and we need to stop that. And overcoming fear. Fear is false evidence appearing real. So you have to ask yourself, what false evidence is appearing real to me currently? What am I afraid of? What's going on with me? What disappointments? How am I disappointed in myself? What shame am I giving myself? Listen, I need you to understand, get scared, but don't stay scared. A lot of things scare us, and understand that fear is normal. Candyman used to scare the shit out of me. And now I can appreciate what Jordan Peele has done in the newest Candyman from a space of understanding my fears and becoming one with it. I used to be afraid of things like Papa Legba, things like that. And now I sit and I genuinely talk to things like that. From a space of, that's my frequency, that's part of my ancestors, and that's myself. I lie to you not, just quick sidebar. A lot of you motherfuckers use these things to create fear, which creates the idea of voodoo. That's not even voodoo. We call that you-do. Because honestly speaking, you're working voodoo on yourself because it's you-do. You're doing it to you. You're sabotaging you. So when I started to understand that more, I got more into understanding my fears, and that's forever. You're consistent. Like, the more things that you get comfortable with not being afraid of, now you're getting comfortable with life. That's the thing. Sometimes we put our fears on the back burner and we're still subconsciously scared by them. And now when our fears come up, we're responding from a flight or fight type of aspect. And that's what we don't want to do. So, yeah. All right. Can you share a specific example of a time when letting go led to a positive outcome or a newfound understanding in your life? My experience at the hospital today reinforced my belief in surrendering and letting go of expectations by teaching me the importance of trusting in the unknown and surrendering to the present moment. It was a reminder that true peace comes from releasing attachments to outcomes and embracing the present moment. Let me tell you something, right? The present moment, there's so much to offer. You need to understand that. The more you understand that, the way to understand it is you have to consciously let go in the moment, unpack as much as you can, get you some ice cream or something, and naturally you'll start to understand the flow. The unknown is what we're afraid of. We're afraid of what we can't, we can't see. Look, a lot of people are like that. Motherfuckers out here scared of the devil, not knowing it's an idea of dogma. The only way to get over that fear is to educate yourself on what the devil is and who the devil was. A lot of things are false evidence appearing real. You don't have much evidence behind what you can't see. So therefore, you think the best thing to do is to be afraid of it. You have to be afraid, but not afraid. Spirit ain't afraid of nothing. You got to let that pendulum flow. You'll see yourself human in, but still remain your spirit and still watch. And that's one thing that I did today when I was at the hospital. I decided to just watch. I was very carefully watching because careful observation is the quickest way to complete awareness. So yeah, the hospital was one. Uh, Naturally, it's in me to not really focus on fear. It's the unpacking is constant. So that's how I get better at it. Yeah, that's an example. All right. What advice would you give to others who are struggling to let go and surrender to the flow of life? Uh my advice to others struggling to let go and surrender would be to practice self-awareness. Yeah, practice self-awareness. Self-awareness looks like you breathing. Even clap 30 seconds just to bring yourself back to this physical reality, because you need to know what you're doing. You need to understand what's going on with you before you get to just subconsciously being something and it comes off as, oh, look at this motherfucker. Why is he acting like that? And then they give you the energy that you probably didn't know you had. So self-awareness is definitely key. Trust in the process. Everything is a process. It's the idea of a caterpillar turning into a butterfly. Everything has a fucking process. And you have to understand that you're not more so trusting the process, you're trusting your spirit, because your spirit can see faster and further than you. So you're trusting your spirit that everything is going to be okay. You made it to where you are now because you trusted yourself. You just didn't know it. You need to find gratitude in that. The more you start to build and you become self-aware of the spirit, is the more you guys build a connection, and you can't trust a motherfucker you don't believe in. And freedom is believing in yourself. So you'll notice that a lot of friendships go sour because you can't believe in that person, or you tried to believe in that person and it wasn't met with an idea of freedom. So self-awareness and trust the process. Cultivate a mindset of acceptance. Sometimes acceptance is hard to be, and I understand that. But your goal is to breathe through all these aspects and don't focus too much on trying to intellectualize the idea of acceptance. You want to just take your time, be easy, breathe. See yourself throwing up that cosmic vomit, that cosmic throw up, that rainbow colored emotional muck. Throw it up and clear your system, and you can start by taking a deep breath. If you really want to let spirit know that you fully accepted something, consistently keep accepting it by breathing. Yeah. By letting go of the need to control and surrendering to the flow of life, they can find peace and clarity in the present moment. Yeah, you could. The whole goal is clarity. In order to be clear, you have to breathe and want to be clear and want to see clear. And that looks like you just breathing and letting go. Go do something that you genuinely like to do. Sometimes I like to play Monopoly, or sometimes I'm just assertive with my idea of things. Hey, listen, I don't have all the processing right now, so I'm gonna go do something else that's genuinely me, burn an incense or something, and it's gonna attach itself to me, which it already has. So I just have to wait till it comes. I don't have to go looking for it or go searching. You know what I'm saying? Don't ever go searching for something that you're promised. That's your birthright. Never search for abundance. If not, you become a slave to the hustle. That's not the idea. You never want to be enslaved to your desires. Okay. Yeah. So, how do you maintain a sense of freedom and belief in yourself, even in challenging circumstances. Huh. I maintain a sense of freedom and belief in myself in challenging circumstances by reminding myself of my inner strength. I go through different periods of different lessons I teach myself. Affirmations. You have to affirm. You have to know who you are. You have to understand the words you're affirming. And that will lead you to epiphanies and realizations in relevance to you being better at having inner strength. The whole goal is setting reminders. Uh, you're trying to remind your human self that you're bigger than this. You're a spirit, because spirit naturally doesn't care. Trust me. Listen. I told my girl the other day, I'm sitting there just cooling, playing GTA. I said, listen, I don't want to be shit, period. It just happens that I naturally am good at certain things and certain aspects of expression. Wherefore I rap, I do emotions made easy, I help clients with their issues. I sell fire safety made easy because I did it myself and I experienced it, and I want to help people genuinely. That's the whole goal behind all these ideas, especially emotions made easy. I feel that I can bring someone relief in the time that they need it. And think about it. Sometimes all you need is an aspect of relief to fully dive into that next entrepreneur move, the next idea of talking to your mom genuinely and assertively, the next idea of obtaining or being patient as the things that you want and need come with speed. Yeah. Cultivating self trust. You got to trust yourself, and practicing surrender in moments of uncertainty. The more you practice surrender in the moments of uncertainty, is the better you get at that. It never stops, but your goal is just to keep practicing. Perfection comes when you least expect it. It'll just become a part of you. It's happened for me. By staying grounded in my beliefs and values, I am able to navigate challenges with confidence and resilience. Listen, confidence and resilience is built. Don't think that I just wake up and I'm that. I am, and I do wake up and I am just that. But I had a process and I trusted it. I polarized myself with the opposite sex, which is my beautiful lady. I'm having a beautiful baby. I got a beautiful dog at home. I'm here. I'm mindful, and I got beautiful friends. Uh, they have attached themselves to me from a genuine space based on who I'm being internally, based on my self trust. So understand, understand. Yeah, understand, understand how to understand confidence. Understand when to be resilient. Don't intellectualize these ideas. You have to take your time molding these traits, because if you was a pessimist before, these things take time. Let's say, for example, if you're a strong eater, like you eat a lot, been there, done that, you got to understand that it's going to be uncomfortable trying to eat well, because you've been so good and habitually you've been eating bad, or your perspective of it. So it's going to look hard, but it's your path. You be who you want to be. Mm-hmm. What are some practical steps that you have taken to cultivate a mindset of surrender and trust in the universe? Practical steps to cultivate a mindset of surrender and trust in the universe include mindfulness practices. Yeah. Sit with yourself, reflect and unpack, and stop judging yourself. That's the biggest key to shame and guilt. Please stop. Like KRS-One said, guilt is giving up inspirational living towards yourself. Forgive yourself, and the parties involved will be forgiven naturally. Uh, Letting go of attachment to outcomes. Let go of your attachment. You got to understand, if it's for you, it's already attached to you. Law of attraction works that way for people. It's always the opposite of what it is in this reality. Everything that you want and need is already attracted and attached to you. There's no reason for you to attract anything or try to intellectualize the idea of attraction. You just have to live and enjoy your life and be you. That's your goal. You just have to live. Just live. Okay? All right. So, and seeking guidance from within. By connecting with my inner wisdom and releasing resistance to the flow of life, I am able to surrender and trust in the greater plan unfolding. Trust me, it's a bigger plan that you couldn't even fathom. You're what you can think humanly you deserve, you couldn't even fathom what you actually deserve on a spiritual tip. You got to understand that. That's why it's not, you can't really, like when you start thinking you know it humanly, you're limiting yourself. When you let go of it, it's like it's limitless. So try your best to let go. Try your best to let go and love you. Try your best to appreciate who you are. Try your best to find some gratitude and relevance to who you're becoming and what you have become. You're doing an amazing job. How do I know that? Because I can feel the frequencies. If you're watching this right now, you're definitely doing a good job. Also, I understand that not everybody sees me. If you're happening to see me now, blessings are coming your way, and it's going to be big blessings because I'm genuinely limitless. Love you guys. Appreciate you. Listen, freedom is believing in yourself. Let go. If you're having a hard time letting go, go do Emotions Made Easy. We'll help you learn to let go genuinely, and we'll have fun doing it. Much peace, much love. Check out everything I got. The wraps, the clothing coming soon. Much peace and much love to you guys. Always a pleasure talking to you. Love.